What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Texas Street Stories. And if you haven't already subscribed, help your boy out and hit the subscribe button. Hopefully everybody's having a good Sunday. Watched a couple of football games. I'm still waiting for the Cowboys and Giants game to come up. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Dallas, Texas, street wars, gang wars. Uh, I was born in 1981, so this year I'll be like 42 or 43. The gang that was in my area in the 80s, in the 90s, it was a gang called Hispanic Connection. It was more of a big family. You know, there were uncles and cousins and nephews that were pretty big. They were called the Gallegos. So it was a pretty big family. You know, from the 90s, they moved all the way up to Webb Chapel, Northwest Highway, up to that area. And I guess you can say after Carrollton, try to crack down on them, they kind of moved up to the Webb Chapel area, which they became known as VNS, Barrio Northside. It's same people that were Hispanic Connection evolved to VNS. Then from VNS, one of them, or one of the members, went to prison and joined La M. Some of the members weren't too happy with that, and they splintered off. And that's where you get North Haven Park and also CFB, Carrollton Farmers Branch, North Haven Park. But you got to understand where these gangs are predominantly from, like what areas. Carrollton Farmers Branch, you catch them all the way from Trinity Mills all the way up to Beltline and Josie. Now up to Valwood, up to Valley View, Valwood, Valley View. Because once you cross the bridge, that's North Haven Park. Once you cross the bridge over, that becomes North Haven Park. North Haven Park is from Forest all the way to Royal. VNS is all the way from Walnut Hill, Northwest Highway. Some of my bigger, older homeboys splintered off from VNS. Once I think dues and all these other stuff started coming into place when the homie joined the family. So older homeboys didn't want no part of that, and they splintered off to North Haven Park. This will make all sense in a little bit. When I came out of prison, I had to start back where I left off. But there was already friends of mine that were already doing their thing there. But before I went to jail, I had the C-store rolling. I had a plantation. Me and my brother had a plantation rolling. We had North Haven, the park, apartments blowing up. So when I came back out, I had to get it back. So CFB and North Haven Park, they get along, but sometimes they flex. There was two brothers at the time when I came out of prison that were running around there that had it unlocked. One was named Ruben and one was named Paul. Paul, he had all the CFB guys with him, under him. He had some guy named Cisco. He had some white boy named John John. And he had many others that were from CFB that were basically under him. Ruben, he had all the North Haven Park, a couple of VNS that he would associate with. He was cool with. Me, I was cool with VNS, but I was North Haven Park. But we were all at one time one, so we knew each other. So when I come out, Paul has my area. He has my store. You know, because I used to be at the store rock for rock. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I used to have that shit in my ass. I used to have maybe a half a cookie or a cookie just in between my butt cheeks. You know, and that's how I would serve my customers. You know, I wasn't about to go back. That's how I would do it before, and I was continued doing it like that. I never caught a case. So I had to start all over. So Paul got this area on lock. And his homeboy Cisco just got out from state jail. And he's a homeboy, he's blasting too. But he got this big old star on his neck. To where I'm like, you know, back then it wasn't common for homeboys to get big old stars, and it was more of like a badge. You know, you had to earn that badge. You know, you couldn't just go over there and put a big old star on you and that was it. No, that was now it's just common. You know, you got everybody putting stars on. You know, so I kind of took that to the offense, and I made that an issue since they were already at my store. You know, so we settled it by catching a round at the car wash. I went up there with one of my homeboys with two pistols. I had my pistol, and my homeboy had his pistol. Cisco and Paul, they rolled up like 10 motherfuckers, man. I'm pretty sure they had guns too. But I told them, let's just get paid. You know, what it is, what it is. You know. So we start getting into it. You know, but this is a street fight. Anything's going. This ain't no cell block. This ain't we fighting in a cell and it's boxing. This no, there's rules. No. There ain't no rules right now in the street fight. You know, so during this process, I pick him up and I slam him. He gives out. He blacks out. So his pa's like, all right, man, that's it. You can have the store again. So I get the store back. But we're always, you know, there's that animosity. So I get the spot rolling again. You know, we start. I get my crew back again. You know, we out there rolling out the C-store, back and forth. You know, we making money, you know. I get a homeboy. He's everybody's homeboy. Because it's the same neighborhood. He's known in VNS, he's known in CFB, he's known in North Haven Park. You know. He had just came out of TYC. They maxed him out. He had reached the age. So he was released. So I run into him at the C-store. He don't have nothing. he's doing bad. You know, he just, so I take him to the store. I get him some clothes. You know, I get him right. But then again, I'm just helping him out because he's a childhood friend. You know, I don't need an extra member on my team. You know, I didn't need no shooters because basically myself or the people that I had around me were enough shooters that we didn't need. I didn't need no more. You know, there was already 4 or 5 of us, and we were all about that. So I didn't need no more. You know, but I told him, I'm like, you know, there's Paul up the street. You know, he's at the other C store at the North Haven Apartments. He's up there. I said, if you want to go hit a lick with this other homeboy that just got out, you know, I'll buy whatever y'all get from him. He's like, bet. He's like, I'm like, look, you find any money, that's y'all. Y'all can keep the money, but I'll take whatever else, you know, whatever else shit y'all can get from there. Any kind of work, I buy it off of y'all. But I'm not gonna buy that full price. I said, cause I'm gonna let y'all borrow my guns right now, cause y'all ain't got a gun. So they go, kick in the door, and they come back with like 2 safes. We crack them open. It's these bullshit safes, you know, that you can buy at Home Depot, Walmart. You know, you get a hammer and some tools. It breaks right in half. It's not that big of a deal. So we pop them open, and there's work. There's a little bit of money, a couple of ounces of this, a couple of ounces of that. You know, 2, 3 guns. You know, I keep one gun because I let them borrow my guns, and I bought everything they had for less than half of what it was really worth. But Paul now knows who it was. So that same day, I'm coming out with my homeboys to go. I think we were gonna go across the street to the Azteca to get some tortas or some tacos. So on the way out, we see a Suburban pull up right in the middle of the street, a few feet. It's Paul and his homeboy John in the back. John in the back with the shotgun. Paul's driving. He got to 9. All I know is that Paul unloaded the clip, and his homeboy John cut that pussy, and he didn't shoot. We all ducked. It's 3, 4 of us. None of us got hit by the grace of God. But I think if that dude would have hit that shotgun, ain't no telling, you know, because they were just a few feet away. They weren't no 100 yards. They were like maybe feet away, you know, steps. They could have stepped out the ride and just touched us. But somehow the bullets missed. So they burn off. So I'm mad now. You know, I'm mad. You know? So the same 2 dudes that went over there, they went back. But this time when they went back, it was a 2-story apartment. One hit the windows at the bottom, and the other one hit the windows from the top in the cars that were parked right there in front of the house. Lit them up. I'm right there just parked watching, waiting for them to come back. You know? Waiting for them to come back. You know? So they come back in the car, we arc out. Paul calls me. He wants to talk. But It's too late for talking. We're past that. You try to kill me, you mean? It is what it is now. And the sad part about it that his brother ended up having a kid with my sister. You know? But his older brother Ruben was cool. You know? He was cool. You know, he didn't have no choice but to move around when I got out. You know? Because when I got out, I was on the streets. You know, he was used to telling people what to do. You know, he wasn't out on the streets. You know, it's kind of hard to lead from a telephone, telling orders and telling people what to do. It's easier when you're out on the front lines, where everybody's equal, everybody's getting it. You know, this is just one episode, one story of Texas Street Wars. Plenty more, but I'm gonna cut it short. And you know, it's sad to say that we were all one gang, as you can say. You know, we all ran the same streets. We all went to the same middle schools. You know, but some of us became about that money, and some of them just became customers. In their own minds, they thought they were doing something, but they were just supporting their habits. I have a homeboy named Joker. He didn't want to be tango. He wanted to be family. And he had his sponsor, and he had his padrino. I had seen him last time in the county jail. I was in there with my other homeboy. He's VNS, named Tuntun. Tuntun was facing life for all kinds of shit. But he was tango. A lot of my homeboys became tango. Some of them became famas. But it's sad that we were shooting at each other, and before we were shooting hoops, playing football. And all just for the money. Who could control something that didn't even belong to them at the time? That store, that block, those apartments. None of that belonged to us, to neither one of us. You know, we did a lot of stuff on both sides. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Texas Street Stories. And like I say, just be yourself. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be something that you're not. And you regret it. You end up being in a place or end up doing something that you weren't meant and built for. So at the end of the day, just be yourself.